Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has long been a man of contradictions. Who could forget the image of Trudeau, an unwavering advocate for racial equality and diversity, dressed in blackface at a party with colleagues in the late 1990s? Well, Trudeau may well have just met his own match in his own Minister for Women and Gender Equality, Miriam Monsef, who had this to say about the Taliban.
I want to take this opportunity to speak to our brothers, the Taliban. We call on you to ensure the safe and secure passage of any individual.
Can't wait to hear the reaction. Let's bring in my panel. From Sydney, co-host of Outsiders, James Morrow, and from Adelaide, host of Bernardi, Corey Bernardi. Now, she calls them brothers, Corey. I prefer to call them the butchers. Taliban butchers, not brothers. What did you make of that? She is a minister in a Canadian government. They're supposed to be one of the Five Eyes.
That's exactly right. And Peter, what's extraordinary is she's the equality minister, so she shouldn't be seeing gender. She should have, referred to them as the sisters, perhaps, to upset them. But one of the things I find out, maybe cut her some slack, maybe she's referring to them as the brotherhood of humanity. But you make the point, these people are butchers. They are not human. They are subhuman. They are absolutely disgraceful individuals that really have no place on the world stage. And I'm going to find it fascinating whether the UN allows the Taliban to take Afghanistan's place, where they put a woman on the Rights of Women Committee in the UN. This is a fascinating thing, and how will Canada vote when it comes to that?
Shame on Canada, I tell you what, shame on Canada, and they'll go to the polls soon. I hope that is absolutely front of mind. Let's stay on the Taliban, James. This is on the back of a similar issue in the UK the other day, but French authorities, they have now detained an Afghan refugee over possible links to the Taliban. In the Parliament today, the Home Affairs Minister, Karen Andrews, she restated her commitment that all the necessary security checks and indemnity checks would be done to protect Australians. Let's have a listen.
The integrity of our migration process and our borders is absolutely essential for community safety and confidence. And our Australian Border Force officials have been working very hard on the ground, conducting the security checks that are needed. And those checks are being undertaken because we have a responsibility as a government to make sure that we are keeping Australians safe and secure.
This is where the US deserve great condemnation. We're now being forced to get these people out quickly, but of course we've got to check who they are, James.
This is a real disaster of it. I mean, they say that we know who most of these people are, but the fact is there's no way in the sort of really chaotic situation that's going on right now in Afghanistan that you can absolutely be sure that people are who they say they are. I know that the U.S. also have found somebody, I think in Oman, who made it out from Afghanistan on one of their flights, who they think also might be linked to the Taliban, might be linked to terrorist organizations. It's a huge challenge. We do owe, of course, a debt of honor to those Afghans who worked for us, who put themselves in harm's way to help our mission there. But boy, we've got to be careful that we've got the right ones and the right people coming in, and that they don't have the sort of backgrounds that will put us at risk.
Otherwise, Australia, we breed sleeper cells, and I could do a whole 60-minute program on that if I was released from my top secret obligations. But let's go to another story. British servicemen and women, we're being told, have been diverted from their efforts evacuating citizens and Afghan allies. This is extraordinary. Instead of rescuing human beings, they have been forced to airlift 200 dogs and cats. The animals were all housed in a Kabul shelter run by a former Marine, and along with 60 staff, they got on these Royal Air Force flights out of the country. Now, Corey, there's been some suggestions here that Boris Johnson's wife, Carrie, was pushing behind the scenes for this. It's extraordinary.
It's extraordinary because if she was, she's clearly got too much influence. I'm actually quite disgusted by this. And I tell you now, Peter, the people on Twitter are going to get outraged about it, but really a mercy mission for dogs, cats and donkeys. Let's be frank about it. We can't abandon them to the Taliban. They should have been euthanized on the spot, and those spaces given to people who need evacuation. This is madness, but madness has infected seemingly the whole world, except for us here at Sky News, of course.
Oh, absolutely, Corey. I want to go to the United States again. Supreme Court, stunning blow here to Joe Biden's immigration agenda. The court ordered that Biden The administration needs to reinstate the Trump-era Remain in Mexico policy, James, which requires people claiming asylum to wait in Mexico while their applications are assessed. This is a big deal.
It's a huge deal, and it is finally a bit of a blow to the Joe Biden policies, which have been allowing that southern border to essentially be a free-for-all. You know, last month there was something like 230,000, they call them contacts with illegal immigrants come across that border. And we know that for everyone that there's contact with, there's 2, 3, 4 more. So that southern border is now so porous. And part of the problem is the Biden administration has gone from that previous policy of the Trump administration to what they call catch and release. So come across, declare asylum, and they put you on a bus to Houston, to Austin, somewhere else, causing huge amounts of problems, including bringing coronavirus into all of these places because they aren't testing the people, they aren't giving them a place to quarantine. This is a mark of sanity, finally, some sort of sanity coming back to that southern border. But I'll tell you what, there's so much else going on in the U.S. that I don't know, how much of a difference this is going to make.
Hey, Corey, I've been saving this one for you. There's a new book out that claims Barack Obama asked for Malcolm Turnbull's help and political guidance to persuade Donald Trump to respect America's allies and stick to international agreements, the whole caboodle. I mean, you know you're in desperate trouble if you're asking Malcolm Turnbull for political advice, aren't you, Corey?
You certainly are. But I tell you what the revelation is here. I didn't know that Barack Obama confided in Troy Branston about his private conversations to make Malcolm Turnbull look so good. It's extraordinary. I just wonder what motivated him to leak like this to Troy Branston.
Right, gentlemen, you enjoy your weekend. Corey's out in the free world. James is still in lockdown. I'll see you both next week.